Okay, first alert weather time. Let's take you to New Orleans. Residents there are bracing for Tropical Storm Francine, and that same storm will impact us. For more on that and the two first alert weather days ahead, here's first alert meteorologist Cutter Martin.
Yeah, our days to watch begin Thursday. We're also watching Friday a first alert weather day, and some of these rain showers could linger into the weekend. Now, want to drive home the point that it will not rain that entire 48 or so hour period, but the chance of rain will be greater. There will be some breezy winds, and there could be a couple of spinning showers or thunderstorms, especially just west of the city of Atlanta. We'll get into the impacts here locally in just a moment. First, want to give you an update on where Francine is right now. You know, as the crow flies, less than 150 miles east-southeast of the mouth of the Rio Grande, so already relatively close to land, but that turn to the north-northeast has begun, and it will begin to accelerate just a little bit more as it approaches the Louisiana coastline. You saw the live picture, and you can see on first alert radar they are already dealing with heavy rain. Not good, hours ahead of what is going to be the worst of this system as it tracks through southeast Louisiana and then into the mid-south. The center of the circulation, whatever is left of Francine, is going to remain well west of North Georgia and well west of the city of Atlanta, but the structure of this storm will change after it makes landfall, really expanding that envelope of influence. We'll say the tropical moisture will start feeding it in North Georgia and metro Atlanta. Ahead of this system, already starting to get some of those high wispy clouds. Temperatures in the lower 80s Atlanta, mid 80s LaGrange, 82 in Griffin, 83 Athens, mid 80s in Eatonton. Mountains a little bit cooler, low humidity as well, upper 70s and lower 80s. Tonight we will cool. It's going to be a nice morning tomorrow. 66 in Atlanta, 62 Athens, lower 60s Carrollton, upper 50s, lower 60s in the mountains with, I think, a cloudier start to the day, but we're mostly dry with lots of clouds. Temperatures on the, I'd say, on the comfortable end of the spectrum through the way to the bus stop, the drive in tomorrow morning as well. No first alert weather day tomorrow, but certainly a day that's different than today. By noon, a couple of showers, mainly south of I-20, and that chance of a few rain showers in the forecast as early as dinner plans, maybe even the latter half of the evening commute tomorrow. I don't think it's a total washout, but there will be a few showers around. Temperatures cooler, that breeze a bit more noticeable with a high only in the lower 80s Atlanta. And look at the south and west sides, Carrollton, LaGrange, Thomaston, Griffin. More clouds down here. You'll be a little bit cooler, only in the upper 70s to right around 80. A few showers possible, but again, while most are dry, I think there's a couple showers in the forecast tomorrow evening for the outdoor exercise plans. Just keep that in mind. Big days Thursday, Friday, but the rain chance technically begins Wednesday. Hour by hour forecast. Again, moisture starting to increase from south to north Wednesday night. I think Thursday morning we will wake up to some rain. So the Thursday morning commute could be a little slower. Again, not a deluge, not raining everywhere. The heaviest of the rain in Alabama by that point. And I think Thursday the focus could be the western half of the area, and we'll be watching these storms, especially in East Alabama. One or two could provide some, gusty winds up to severe levels, maybe a tornado or two. Again, mainly west of the Atlanta News First viewing area. Friday is still looking like the wetter day, but there is still uncertainty in exactly how this forecast will evolve. Just stay tuned to updates. First Alert Weather app, a great tool to have. You can get those updates on the go. Just search First Alert Weather in your Apple Google Play Store. A gradual drying trend Saturday, Sunday into early next week.
Thank you so much.